So we should be going live. We're good. All right. So anyway, I was thinking of Lindsay as I was driving. I got out of Mobile. Lindsay, I drove across the bay and heading towards Florida, right? Pensacola. And I was like, I didn't have a whole lot of experience in Alabama, although I remember when I entered Alabama, there was this big sign that said Sweet Home Alabama. So when I left Mississippi into Alabama, Sweet Home Alabama. And then when I entered Florida, it was this big welcome to Florida with the palm trees. And yeah, it's like you're entering the ultimate resort or something. So anyway, good to see you guys. Welcome to our Success Mastermind. Daisy's here. Catherine, good to see you. We're going to have a fun little conversation today. I am wearing a black polo, but it's a different one than I normally wear because it's Fun Friday. Oh my goodness. You guys got any jokes or anything to get us started? Missy, I need a joke from you specifically, Missy.
I don't know any jokes except who's on first. That's
that's the thing. That's the thing. We're so serious sometimes. We Italians are so friggin' dramatic. Oh my goodness. Where do we get that from? So a bit of lightheartedness, I think, is in order. In fact, I will tell you.
Bob has all the jokes, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
All the corny jokes, but I don't know any.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Well, I got an Italian joke for you.
Oh, wow.
Why do Italians wear gold necklace?
Why?
So they know where to stop shaving.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. There you go. The horn, right? You get a lot of the guys with the horn.
That's right. Malocchiola.
Yeah, it's like a little curly horn thing. Anyways, good to see you all. I'm having let's see what we've got going on here today. We got Be Heard at 6 p.m. Eastern US time. So be there for that. Be a nice little time where I can listen, you can talk about anything you want. We've got lots of people engaged in lots of different projects here in the Mastermind group, and I'd be happy to assist with any of that. I am just getting back in the groove with a lot of business stuff. So if you're participating with me in other aspects of business, besides just our Mastermind sessions here, that's why I've been quiet. As you know, I've been moving, but we're just to the point now where we're putting in a routine. So that is good. Everything not done, okay, but still, it's time for the routine. What I thought would take a week has taken 3. So, but hey, life, and I guess that's something that we could talk a bit about here today, is the idea that like when we set goals, we've talked about SMART goals before, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. The big arbitrary part of that is the time thing. And so that's what I was looking at now with some of you is the idea that, we've got goals. Hopefully we do, right? But we've also got like these targets that we want to hit, which unless you've got a crystal ball fully functional, I don't, but unless you've got that, it's an educated guess sometimes about how long stuff might take. Okay. And I say educated, so not like a blind faith kind of thing, an educated guess, because we can look around and we could see what others using those type of methods have done to accomplish what we say we want to accomplish. So that's instructive. That's nice, but it's not the gospel. Okay. So when we look at goal achievement, what a lot of people do, assuming they set a goal. Okay. So now they've got that, but a lot of people will look at the time portion of that goal and think, well, I didn't hit my goal in that amount of time. I've exceeded the time. Therefore, I failed to reach my goals. Wrong answer. Okay. So those arbitrary time-bound targets, look, I've missed a lot of them and I've exceeded them too. I've done it quicker than I thought, right? So what is that? That's an educated guess. So we may miss lots of targets, and we will, but we reach every goal we set. And that could be your affirmation. It's certainly validating, right? I reach every goal I set. Well, you didn't reach that one. Well, no, I haven't reached it yet. But in the period of time that I thought, in all my wisdom, for whatever that's worth, right? That I thought that's what it would be. Okay, but I reach every goal I set, regardless of whether I'm early or late on targets. So with this in mind, we don't have to condemn ourselves or in some way invalidate our own ability. You see, I would tell you, if you ask me what my greatest asset is, it's ability, over a course of time, right? So without, I mean, if I wasn't alive and doing the body thing and having time, then, ability, when is ability? Well, ability is now. Okay. So sustained ability over a period of time, I would say, is my greatest asset. We've talked recently since the new year, we've talked a couple of times about the idea of time and activity management. Time management is kind of a misnomer. It's actually activity management. Well, if we look at activity, what activity, right? Well, activity that you're able to do. You're able, right? That's why you're taking those actions. So, and you desire to, right? So when we combine desire with ability and a bit of decision, right? Then next thing you know, we're taking action. And so we're managing those actions now. Without the ability, we wouldn't be acting. Without a decision, we would have never acted. We would just be procrastinating or sitting there doing nothing. And without desire, well, how many people do you know, and just take your own inventory, who are as motivated as you? See, I look at this, and I probably shouldn't look at it as much, but I look at, like, say, statistics in terms of who's doing what in this or that business organization. And I'll be like, well, do they need more training? Let's say they're not producing at a high level, or at a level that I think, based on my standards, right? They're not producing at a high level. Well, do they need more training? Have we been negligent in our training, right? Or are they just lazy? I guess that's a possibility, right? Because like Albert Gray said, if you want to increase production, focus on purpose. So there's that desire piece. It was the first chapter. Well, it's the second chapter, but the first principle of Napoleon Hill's classic Think and Grow Rich. Desire, the starting point for all riches, right? If you don't got that, stop reading the book. In fact, Napoleon Hill said, for the person who has lost ambition or has no ambition, there is no cure. So that's like, you're out of the game. You got no shot. So desire, this white hot burning obsession, as he called it, right? So does this person with who's demonstrating low statistics, right? Do they need more training? Are they lazy? Do they not have a why or something? Are they vague about their goals? Do they doubt they can reach them? Are they not knowing how able they actually are? And they are, right? Because look, guys, we've had situations, all of us, where like an emergency type condition, or we could say a high necessity level, where you got off your ass and you got it done because you had to. There was no Q&A, right? A lot of people spend their life in Q&A. Well, the whole point of Q&A and considerations and everything else is to what? Is to come to a conclusion, a decision. No more Q&A, right? I sit here in Q&A with myself all the time. Should I, shouldn't I, this, that, blah, 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 right? Doing nothing. I don't do that as much as I used to, okay? But anything that isn't in process is in a state of what? Suspension, non-doingness. Okay. Well, are we either going to do it or not? You see, we talked about this before too. The idea we're going to say yes to stuff. Well, then if you're going to do it, well, then do it, right? Which means also we're going to say no to stuff. So my desires, which are totally subjective, it's whatever I want, right? So my white hot burning obsession can exist for this or that, which means it will not exist for all these other things. As I've said, and this kind of holds water for me, you can have anything you want. You can't have everything you want, but you can't have anything. So choose. And then go after that with that white hot burning obsession. And so again, observing other people's performance. And it's interesting too, a lot of times people will have a story about it, right? People like to tell stories and justifications. right? How do I know this? Because I look, you point at one finger, 3 point back. I know how to justify. I know how to tell you why and give you all the reasons why I didn't get results. You see, you get one or the other. You get results or you get reasons, right? Well, here's my reasons, baby. Listen to this. I got a hot story for you, right? Um, but the reasons are secondary or tertiary, right? So primary, secondary, tertiary, right? So they're not primary. Whenever someone has a story to tell about why they can't, there's always something missing there. Whenever they're offering secondary or tertiary problems that they can't solve, right? Which is another topic altogether, the unsolvable problem that some people like to present. But it always comes down to the primary thing. The primary thing is, what is your goal? And do you know you're going to reach it? So without the why, the how-to doesn't really matter, right? With the why, the how-to almost takes care of itself. So we can look at high production people now. Okay, so in contrast, here's high production people. And they're very clear about why, right? The purpose and faith that they can do it, right? Faith in their own abilities. And so statistics are way higher. So is their emotional state. It's that state of expectancy of, yes, I can do this, and I will, and I am doing it, right? It's that state of expectancy. And then the production or the statistics is completely different, right? But here's the question that comes up for me again and again, as a guy who's been engaged in, human achievement for 30 something years, is why are the top 2% only 2%? What about those others? What about the rank and file? Like, how do you move those people into the level of production of the top 2 or 3% or whatever it is? And it's not just in this or that business. I'm talking in life. And for me, well, I've concluded that there is no way to cause 2% to be more than 2%. That's just math. Okay. And there will always be people who are excelling, or perhaps I should say more interested, more purposeful, more passionate, more decisive about this or that. And look, it's different for different people and different things. So where I might be assessing, here's low production in this area, maybe they're like the master of the friggin' universe in some other area of life that I don't have any attention on. I have a violin. I own one. Yeah. And if I handed it to Ingrid, we would get music. Okay. Ingrid's got a violin. It costs a little bit more than mine. Okay. Mine was like $900 or whatever. It's nice. Hers was $100,000 friggin' dollars. Okay. And you could hand her violin to me and you would get noise. Noise. Okay. So here's Ingrid on a $900 violin. Here's John on a $100,000 violin. And the $900 violin in the hands of a master. Well, now we got some music, right? So what's the difference there, right? Intent, right? I haven't been practicing violin for 40 friggin' years. Not interested, mildly interested enough to go spend $900. Actually, it was a gift from my father. I said, I'm interested in violin. Next thing you know, I got a violin. And I took a couple of lessons, which was kind of funny, but
how old were you?
Right.
How old were you?
Oh, I was 30, 35. Somewhere
oh, man, that's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got the Suzuki method books and stuff, But the idea here is that as the non-violinist, right, I could look in awe at a master, and with limited perspective, the master could look at me and say, "What the hell is wrong with you? Hold the bow like that. Do that, right? Stand, put your foot out like that, right?" And so what happened was I didn't engage. Why?
No, John, that's how we're taught.
Right. But the the fruit of that. So let's say I really engage, like I engage in business. Okay. So I engage in business, and I've got a purpose for that, which is relevant to me, more so than mastering an instrument, let's say. Okay. I've got guitars too, right? And I'm better on those than I am on a violin, but still, I'm not at a pro level. Look, there are people, and you can see for yourself like what you're most interested in, because it's what you spend most of your time. It's like what you're good at, your abilities, right? Which is why so many teachers say, like personal development teachers say that, do what you love and the money will follow. Well, what you love, what you're in resonance with, in other words, what frequency you're on, right? You've got a higher level of interest, therefore you've got a higher level of aptitude, therefore you're going to kick ass. So find a way to serve humanity with that which you love, that which you're most interested in, and you're going to do good. Okay. So in my case, right, I've got things that I'm more interested in than others, and those are the things that I have found I spend most of my time with and that I've become excellent at. And it's only a few things. Again, it's not everything, right? Because me saying no to violin lessons for the last 30 years versus, me saying yes to developing, various businesses and stuff, that was my choice. So what have you chosen? Right? And for some of you, it's obvious. For some of you, it's, oh yeah, I'm really good at that. And are you finding ways to profit from that? In other words, are you finding ways to serve your fellow man with your intrinsic and developed aptitudes, abilities, talents, right? Granted, there are some people who are, so-called naturals at stuff. We could look at, all different kinds of, masters in different areas of life, right? Some people could golf really well, for example, right? But a lot of that was learned too. That was a choice. They weren't born with a golf club in their hand, right? Back to the idea of music and aesthetics. There's this metal band called Dragon Force, and they play like some of the most talented guitarists, anyway, in terms of the guitar work. Like they've been accused of using studio trickery. Like no human can play that. It's just mind-boggling. And they admit to practicing 12 hours a day. They practice 12 hours a day, right? So there's nothing, light or dilettante about their approach, right? They are like serious guitarists. So to what end? Here's the thing, what we got to get back to, the idea of goals. Okay, so we got goals, we got targets. To what end? They want to be like the greatest, band or whatever. I want to have, back to the idea of ability and having options, right? Different things we can do. Well, me pursuing entrepreneurship means what? I don't have to work a job. I can, live in the area that I want to live, have some, location freedom and more financial ability. So that's the carrot. That's the carrot, right? And that's why I've pursued that. Okay. Via, I will tell you what, in my case, and I think this is where we've got a lot in common, everybody here, I've pursued business type actions via personal development. So whereas a lot of people, and we could again look at the people who may have lower production, they're not in the top 2 or 3% or whatever, where they may look at reading a book like the one we're reading now in our group, right? The Law and the Promise, or Think and Grow Rich, or 7 Habits, or whatever. They would look at that as like an ancillary activity. Like, I'll get around to that eventually. Hey, tell me again about, the technicals and the logistics and the blah, 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 all the doingness, right? All the secondary stuff. I say secondary. And the primary stuff is an afterthought. This is my interpretation of it, okay? Because what I've seen, and this is something that I think Zig Ziglar said, or the late Jim Rohn, one of them. He said, work twice as hard on yourself as you do on your business. So I took that to heart. And again, back to the idea of emergency or high necessity level, I did that out of necessity, right? Because my life wasn't working. I had to engage in personal development before I even knew what business was, right? I mean, just for my own survival and sanity, I had to engage in some, resourceful inputs, because I got my start, on the street. I mean, I didn't know nothing. And then from there, it evolved into, well, now that you're awake and you can see a little bit of your environment, right? And your mind isn't as cloudy. Well, what do you want to do? I mean, now that you're being a human, potentially a productive one, well, what do you want to produce? And in my case, the most gratifying thing that I originally engaged in was the trades, right? I got into, I think I was a diesel mechanic, right? That was gratifying. That was something where if I put my mind to it, and I did, graduated top of my class, right? I could go produce, make a living, right? And so I gave a lot of attention to that. I got really good at it. I was really good, for 40 grand a year. We're going back to 1989. Okay. But then from there, there were certain traps to that. There's certain limitations to that. Right. So in that trade, and I hear typical diesel mechanic might make about 100,000 a year now. Okay. With inflation, it's probably still 40 grand a year, because we're going back some time. But the idea there that's what that job is worth, right? Or you can only fix so many machines in so much time. You're still kind of trading hours for dollars, right? So I found those limitations too limiting, right? So then I got into business. But none of this would have occurred had I not first engaged in some self-discovery, right? I mean, it's be, do, and have in that order. Right. So, all right, who's showing up? Okay, good. All right. Now, what does that person do? And then what does that person have? Right. It's not like we have, here's the fruits, here's the carrot, tasty, nice. Okay. Now, if you don't mind too much, maybe do a little bit of work, and then you'll become successful or something. You'll be the person you always wanted to be. And so thinking in reverse, which is what I've observed a lot of people doing, including myself. Again, this is not accusatory. This is just an observation. But thinking in reverse keeps me stuck. If I keep looking at what I have or have not accomplished, well, and if that dictates to me my emotional state, my expectations, my innermost belief about who I am, well, you get more of that. So it's just another way. It's another way of considering, how is this all actually working or failing to work, right? How does it work? It works by deciding that we reach every goal we set. How long does that take? Well, I don't know. How high is your necessity level? Right? How urgent is it for you? And this is something you can induce for yourself or not. How urgent is it for you to do that? Because I'll tell you what, you shove that carrot in your face, and you see it all the time, right? You're going to be working a bit more diligently, more consistently, right? Out of sight, out of mind. I remember back to the whole music thing. I bought these DVDs, rock guitar, learn rock guitar. And the instructor in the opening sessions talked a bit about the nomenclature of the guitar and the different parts and, what to do. But then he gave a recommendation. He was like, don't put this thing in a case under your bed. Don't do that. Like, get a nice stand, hang it on the wall, do something where you're going to see it. Okay. Because out of sight, out of mind. It just makes sense. Right. And so I would venture that those things that you've gotten really good at are those things that are not out of reach, those things that are readily accessible to you. I'll tell you what, this is one of the reasons why I love this group and the purpose and what we do here is because I consistently have access to ideas that are in some cases reminders, because I forget stuff all the time. But in a lot of cases, new perspectives on the same truth. There's no new truth, right? But new perspectives on the truth of how I do or do not get the results that I'm getting in my life or that I intend to get in my life, right? So then let me conclude with this, because my goodness, I've been talking 25 minutes already. You get to make some choices. And in some cases, there's subtle little shifts, things that you're already doing or you're already good at, and just finding new ways to implement them. We've got people here, right here in this group, right, they've got a bit of a creative edge. And so they're looking at, well, here's print on demand e-commerce, right? You can create, cups and t-shirts and pillowcases and ornaments and printable items and stuff. You can create stuff out of your creativity, and you could sell that via the interwebs to 7.5 billion people, and do it without leaving your house, and potentially, replace or exceed your income from whatever, you were doing before that was unsatisfactory enough that got you looking at other methods. That's cool. That's cool. So that's one way to use an already existing ability to hone that, to learn a few things and technicals and whatever, but to put that into the marketplace in such a way that you could be rewarded for that. Some people are more creative than others. I'm not, by the way, I'm not engaged in that. I'm very constructive, right? You give me like, here's the machine and here's the manual, and I can assemble the perfect, which I've done too many times in the last week, by the way, putting together furniture and hanging ceiling fans, and right. But I am very constructive with that. But somebody else created and engineered it. They designed, here's the shape of it, and here's the angles, and I'm not, yeah. And aesthetics, don't ask me about aesthetics, right? I ask my wife, would this look good here? She's like a branding expert, right? So that's something she's good at, and she's found a way to serve mankind with that, right? But like, she has an art staff, and consultants and artists and web designers and all this, and so whenever she asks me if I like such and such logo or colorization of a website or something, I'm like, why are you asking me? You know what? If I like it, it probably sucks, right? My choice would be black, with some off black accents, and, right. Like every logo I've ever designed myself looks like a heavy metal band. Like it just, I got one frequency that I operate on. So if John likes it, it's probably shit. But her agency did create my logo, which you guys see here right on the Zoom thing, which I love. I think it was great. But the point is that we can't be all things to all people. So choose, right? And then if you're going to do it, well, friggin' do it. Do it, right? Go be the Tiger Woods of your whatever you're into, or the Dragon Force, or the Ingrid, right? The master of that specific thing. But you got to be interested, right? I can't force myself to like something, right? I can't force myself to be interested. But when I keep my attention on the purpose of it, even with all the little, the logistics or things that I may not be, intrinsically interested in, I'm interested in handling them so I can get to that carrot. That's the main thing. I got to keep that purpose in mind. Again, like Albert Gray said, if you want to increase production, focus on purpose. And like Wallace Waddles said, if all your actions are efficient ones, you must get rich. What qualifies as efficient? Every action, each individual action done with purpose and faith. Faith in what? Faith in your ability to actually achieve it. Anyway, I hope you guys got some ideas, some food for action out of this, right? Because we're heading into a weekend here. I'm heading into a new stage of development in my own routines, right? I think I'm finally on East Coast time. Finally, not that it mattered. I up until 1 o'clock in the morning putting together stuff, and maybe at 6 Eastern I'll give you the tour. It's not done. But anybody who's interested in the new digs, I'd be happy to give you a walkthrough. So anyway, thoughts on this? Feel free to come on down. We've got Giovanna's here. My goodness, Mandy, Virginia, Ivier. Oh, look at these awesome people. Any thoughts on this? Please just come on out. And if you got a joke or something, I'd be happy to hear that. So. I'm not seeing any hands. The topic today, once again, here comes Missy. The topic is whatever the topic is. I don't even know. Hi, Missy.
John, the pearls intertwine with many, many topics. And that's why this is a life-changing platform. And my life has been altered in a very short amount of time. But I have to keep doing it every day. Just listening to your words doesn't alter it. That's what helped alter it and helps alter it. And I also want to give a very loving and strong shout out to Ivier for her talk the other day. And Lindsay and Linda and I are holding each other accountable for many, many things now. And we just started yesterday and we're already making progress. But if Ivier had not given that talk, I doubt that we would be doing it. So the pearls that could be picked up on this site are just life-changing in so many ways, and helpful and powerful, meaningful, and you grow closer to people. And it's just a very loving, warm, safe, but exciting place to be. And I thank you all again very much.
Thank you, Missy. We're going to hear from Ivier next. And my goodness, she's been on fire with her enthusiasm for life and everything. So Ivier, what say you, my friend? Let's get you out here, Ivier.
John, I always say you make it easy, right? This platform that we have is contagious. I mean, I don't know any living, breathing human beings on two legs that will join this platform and not catch the bug. And this is a bug in a good sense of using the word bug, right? So it's not COVID, it's not whatever is flying around out there. This is a good bug to get. I mean, the energy here is contagious, right? So anybody who participates in our conversations that doesn't leave on fire, I hate to say this, but they've got the problem, not us, because we're changing the world. We're turning things right side up, not upside down, because everything else right now is upside down. We're turning it right side up. That's what I truly believe we're doing at the core of everything we're about in this family, on this platform, right? So Missy, bless you. Half the time, like John, when I speak, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I don't plan it in advance. You've never seen me with a PowerPoint, no slides, no none. I don't do that. I literally, just before I come on, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I mean, very rarely do I think about something half an hour a day before. So that John and I don't know how we got together, but we're clearly siblings from different mothers. I mean, we've got that in common, right? And I'm just so glad that we can say stuff that you can take away and actually apply in your lives and see results. I think that's the biggest thing for me, that with what I think I have or don't have between here and here can make a difference in someone's life. I mean, I'm honored. Like, I put my hands up because I don't think I know that much, right? But clearly the little I know or the little I think I don't know is impacting lives, right? And at the end of the day, that's what we want. That's the legacy we want. That's the mark we want to leave on the earth, that we were here, right? A good kind of, I was here, not the bad, we're all about good stuff here, right? The positives. So thank you, Missy, for acknowledging that. I mean, that means the world to me, because half the time I talk and I don't even know what I'm saying, if it makes sense, if it's usable. I can talk all day if you give me a chance, right? I talk all the time, right? So that's that. But John, I was listening to you say about, what we're good at. And I was having a conversation with my uncle this afternoon, and he was talking about how some YouTubers last year made XYZ million, and he went down all the way to number 7. And number 7 on the list was a 7-year-old girl, and she made $20 million last year just from YouTubing, right? So that's videos, blogs, whatever else you put out there, a 7-year-old, right? And that got me thinking, because when I was growing up, if you weren't a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, there was an engineer, something like that, you couldn't get a job, a good job, right? And live a decent life and, buy your one house and that was what it was about. So that was drummed into me growing up, that you had to go to school, spend all this money, get all this debt to get that good job, right? Nobody was thinking about owning your own thing, running your own thing, leaving a mark on the world. That's not how I was raised. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but that was drummed into me. Lawyer, doctor, accountant, there were like certain fields you could go into and people give you respect, right? But now it's kind of like gone the other way. And what I found since I moved back to the UK is the people who have thrived, COVID or not, prior to COVID, whatever, are those who had their own businesses. So if you were in a food business and you were good, you never shut, right? So right through COVID, you recorded the best years ever of your entire business existing, right? If you were good at, what else didn't close down? Pharmacies, you name it, what they classified essential services, right? I had to get my hair done, COVID or not, right? The shops were open. I could get my hairdresser. I could go to a house and get a one-to-one appointment. She'd come to me and charge me extra, right? So there were just certain things. So growing up, if you said, oh, I want to make people look nice, I want to do hair, hairstyles, and I want to be a hairdresser, and you were looked at like you came from some weird planet, not even Mars, not Pluto, not the ones we know about, something obscure out there, right? But having lived here in the UK, those are the people making money. Barbers here, they own their own shops. They own their own homes. They have second homes that are investment properties that they're letting out, right? So that's income coming in. So I'm of the mind that whole go to school, get a job out the window. If your kid wants to be a YouTuber, I don't know what you might think is a weird job to have, please encourage them because the world has changed. If your kid is good on computer games or some kind of IT stuff, they can make a website. Oh my God, encourage them to be all they can be in that space because who knows? They could be the next inventor of the next greatest cartoon to hit the TV stations. They could make you a praise in the earth. So don't go into thinking with blinkers on, if you're not this, I don't want to know. Let them blossom, let them thrive where their strengths are, where their skills are, where their natural talents lie. Just let them be. You just don't know who is gonna become the next biggest name in whatever it is you're looking at. I mean, who knew Amazon was gonna be a thing or Etsy was gonna be a thing? Back in the day, if you saw it like, what, you're selling online e-commerce? What's that? Now it's taking over, right? And some of our kids might be the next whiz kids in that space. They might come up with the next e-commerce variant or variation or whatever you want to call it, right? So please, can we not limit ourselves, our children, our nieces, our nephews, whoever in our worlds, just let them thrive with the skills they have. We just don't know if they're good at doodling. You don't know if that doodle is going to become some logo for some big mega corporation tomorrow, and they're going to pay them royalties every time that logo is used, right? So let them doodle away. Just let them be. Let them thrive in those spaces, right? So as you were talking, that was coming back for me in my mind, and I just thought, how brilliant is this? So thank you, John, for the reminder.
Well, thank you, Olivier. Question for you,
Yes.
because you mentioned people making millions on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, so that we could say, is that talent or is that just they resonated with the market in a certain way? Is there something duplicable about that? Is there something instructive? Like, why aren't you making millions on YouTube? So that's where my mind's going.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, what am I good at? I mean, there's probably stuff I can put out there that will be useful to someone somewhere, and they'd be willing to subscribe to my channel and come back again and again and again. I mean, like I can think I started making courgette cake. I'm messing about with recipes in the kitchen. Who knows? I could put one recipe out there and people start commenting on it. Oh my God, I made that last night. It was delicious. My family loved it. And before I know it, I've got a channel where people are thinking, what other recipes do I have, right? It could be something that mundane that we're taking for granted that could be the next revenue stream for us. So I'm not counting anything out. I'm just thinking outside the box now as to what else can I be doing. So that's spot on, John. Absolutely.
I think again, the reason I stick on that is because, I've worked my ass off, right? And I haven't made $7 million on YouTube as a 7-year-old girl or something. So what is it about the 7-year-old girl, right? That's kind of, all right. Okay. Yeah. Or like we talked about music, right? So here's Elton John, Elton John, okay? He plays piano, he sings, he doesn't even write his own songs, right? But why Elton John, right? Are there other talented people? Of course, there's a millions of talented people.
Yeah.
So was that a marketing bit, or did it just, I hate to use the word luck. I don't know. Right. So because a lot of people, and I know this from living in LA for 2 years, right? So a lot of people come to Los Angeles to make it in film, right? And they're all waiting tables and none of them are making it in film. Okay. So what the hell? Why, I don't know, name a big star, Tom Hanks or Julia Roberts. Why them? I don't know. So the I don't know part. Because look, if we've got, remember I said I was constructive more than creative, right? So here's the instructions on how to make millions on YouTube.
Yes, you.
And if you do, I'll tell you what, if I could put that machine together, I'll do it. It'll be perfect. It'll be freaking perfect. Okay. Oh, but now I gotta be creative and I gotta, I mean, look, to a degree, and some people may be saying, oh, well, John, yeah, of course you're creative. I mean, you could sit down on a moment's notice and come up with a lecture on, I think, some of the most relevant stuff to life and success, right? Okay, so maybe I am creative in that way. But I also notice that a lot of people are interested in, kitten videos and whatever, and, whatever the 7-year-old girl is doing. I took my daughter to see this act. It's called Dude Perfect. Did I mention this to you guys? So they went on tour, like a live tour, and they filled the stadium. They filled the stadium with kids. Wow. Are going nuts, right? And these guys started on YouTube doing trick shots with basketballs, and it's like family friendly, stunts and whatever. And they got like how many millions of followers on YouTube, and they filling stadiums? My goodness. So why Dude Perfect? There's other people doing trick shots and stunts and whatever.
Mm.
Okay. You got me thinking, Ivier. You got me. All right. Anybody else got some thoughts about whatever our topic is for today? All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other hands. Oh, wait, yes, I am. I'm seeing the wonderful Giovanna. Hey, what's up, girl? Giovanna.
Hey. So you were talking, so I took about a year off from this group, and it's, I know some of you remember, I had to get my hip replaced, and I had a lot of pain. And I took a year off because it was making me feel bad that I wasn't reaching my goals, my business goals. And I felt like it was because the pain was taking over all my bandwidth. This is how I told myself, like I didn't have any bandwidth left to do anything else. But I don't know, you said something that made me feel like, oh no, it changed my goal to something that, who wants to have their goal surgery, right? But especially when surgeons don't want to do the surgery on you for whatever reason. But so then that became my goal. And I reached it. So, yeah. But so, I guess I just, the idea that we aren't always in charge of our goals. And sometimes we just still have to apply everything we have toward them anyway. I don't know.
Well, yeah. And that was a goal that directly increased your ability. And we're talking about ability, right? So desire, ability, right? Purpose. And so having working hips, I'd say that's pretty valuable, right? If you're going to be using your body and stuff. So, so well done. Question for you now, because I know you were recovering. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm hiking 3 miles to the dog park and back. And
wow. All right. So that worked. Yeah.
Almost no limp. So,
wow.
I couldn't get out of bed without a walker toward the end.
Yeah, I remember you relaying that. Well, we're glad you're here, and we've been here the whole time, and now you're back. So we've had a few regulars showing up again here who've taken a little break. Giovanna, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome. All right. Anybody else before we wrap up for this session? All right. So then 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be back. If any of you want to tune in, I'll probably give you a little walkthrough and listen to whatever you want to talk about. In the meantime, let's make it an awesome day and weekend. All right. So if I don't see you again later on today, have a good one.